Okay, and we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so when you can. And don't forget to hit the notification bell right in the corner. That lets you know when we're live, when we're doing live shows, when we do live interviews, and of course, the latest videos that we drop with exclusive news. This latest show takes us all the way to Canada, where we're linking up with the Fight City and Manny Monteral. Manny, how are we doing? Hello? Hello? Okay now? Okay. I don't know if it was my end or what, but okay. I can hear you. Okay, we've got you now. So we have in the room with us Manny Monteral. Manny, how are we doing? I'm doing good. Great. For people who don't know who you are, give the listeners just a little overview as to who you are.
I guess you could call me a gonzo journalist. I work with the Fight City. I also do my own thing, video, pictures. I manage social media accounts, and obviously I report for the Fight City weekly.
Okay, and you're based in Canada, correct?
Montreal, Canada, to be precise. That's why it's called the Fight City.
Exactly. I just wanted to make sure that there was no misunderstandings. People understand that we are this show is now in Canada, as they say, and in Montreal. In particular, why I've contacted you is because there's a certain fight that's happening this weekend for the WBO middleweight championship of the world with a certain Mr. Billy Joe Saunders, the champion, and of course the challenger, Canada's David Lemieux. Tell me what the noise has been going on in Canada this week. What the vibe's been like.
Well, to be honest, fans here have been clamoring for a big card. We've had some issues on the other side of things, promotional-wise, with BBC and Showtime and Adonis Stevenson. So we haven't had a really, really big card here in a little while, and I think the fans are just. Personally, it's going to be sold out. I haven't seen people this amped up for a fight in a
while. One of the reasons why I've contacted you as well is that I've got this really bad feeling in my gut, a really bad feeling. I haven't felt it for a while, where you feel like somebody's going to get badly knocked out in this fight. With Billy Joe Saunders, we know of him in the UK and what he's been up to, and his recent change with Dominic Ingle. Talk to us about what David Lemieux has been up to.
I mean, if we go back to the Golovkin fight and the aftermath of the Golovkin fight, he's had a couple fights since. He's had issues securing an opponent, but he's been active, and I mean he's at that age where the age difference is really a big thing in this story here, because people are wondering if David Lemieux's best days are past him now, and the truth is, I think the age will actually help him, because he's a more mature fighter. He goes in, he does his work. His training camps are, if you compare it to his younger days, they were a lot more rock and roll, so to speak. And now things are a lot more organized and business-like. And he's matured as a fighter. So I personally think I know for a fact, because I know several of his sparring partners, and I've been to the gym where he worked out before. And he's constantly working. It's part of his daily routine. For him not to be in the gym would be something weird. So he's ready. As far as everything else goes, there's no injuries. He does work, but he works smart. So I don't want to make it sound like he's overworked either. But he's, like I said, he's a very mature fighter, so I think it's going to show Saturday night.
One of my concerns about this fight for Billy Joe Saunders is that a lot of people are looking at the Golovkin fight and going, the Golovkin fight, Saunders will do the same thing. My concern is, and I'm seeing it now after watching boxing for a while now and interviewing fighters, it seems there's a point where a fighter can turn and actually mature, blossom, and progress. Boxing fans tend to keep fighters in a same pattern, like what they did 3 years ago is what they're going to do today. And it might have taken 3 years for him and his trainer to have got it together, or it might have just been a maturity level within Lemieux or any fighter for that matter to have got to certain growth, which is where they failed before. Now they've matured, which I think for this particular fight, Lemieux is a very dangerous opponent. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. I think he's got a lot to gain from this. Despite what happened between the fight with him and Golovkin, it's not out of this world. If we were to hear a year from now that he's rematching him, people would still go and watch it. So it's not. It's how can I put this? He's a very game fighter, and on top of that, he's a big ticket seller up this way. HBO recognizes that, and I mean, part of his comfort that comes with his maturity is also the fact that he's got the full support of Ida Tiger, which is his main promoter, and Golden Boy. So, as far as Billy Joe's concerned, like you said, he has changed camps, and I mean, he's coming all the way to Canada. This is going to be HBO. It's a bit of a big deal for him, Like, they're not making it a big deal. They're not talking about it, but it is a big deal for him because a win for Billy Joe Saunders on this, just as to prove my point that this is a serious fight. A win for Billy Joe Saunders in this case would definitely put him in contention with Canelo and Golovkin. It would definitely increase his stock all the way around. I bet you anything, if he were to somehow win, he would gain some fans here.
How do you rate?
It's an important fight.
It is. How do you rate the skills of Billy Joe Saunders? People in Canada.
I honestly think the only thing that can stop Billy Joe Saunders is youth. Maybe being a little too brash, or like I said, I think maturity is going to play a big part in this fight. David Lemieux is not Eubanks, right? I would say Eubanks, skill-wise, his skill set is better than Lemieux's. But Lemieux's a real boxer who's been in the game and put in his time and knows the ring real well. And there's nothing more dangerous than a crafty fighter. I think he's getting in those crafty years where, despite the loss to Golovkin, I think he learned immensely from it. And I think anytime you go up and you step up against the best of the best out there, win or lose, you're going to grow from it. So, bottom line is this. I think Saunders is might get hit with something, and instead of pacing himself and trying to maybe hold or do something a wiser, older fighter might do, he might jump the gun. And I think that's where David Lemieux is extremely dangerous.
Talk to us. Let's go back to that Golovkin fight, because it is, and after the Golovkin fight, I know Lemieux talks a lot about him not being mentally right for the fight. Is that an excuse, or do you genuinely think that the fight may have come too soon for him in his career?
Well, look, especially with the recent news in the boxing world, bottom line is this: he didn't quit. He went as he did his absolute best, and it just wasn't enough. And I hate to say it, because his trainer is quite possibly one of the best trainers in North America right now, having coached Eleider Alvarez and being with Beterbiev as well. And, Mark Ramsey's just one hell of a trainer. And he's got a beautiful mind when it comes to breaking stuff down. I think for that fight, he came with the wrong set of instructions for David, and they found themselves in deep water. David swam anyway, but they weren't they weren't strong enough to stay afloat. I think the game plan ultimately, I think the work leading up to the fight, what they thought they were going to be able to do was just completely wrong. They went in there and basically, got disarmed. So I also think, as much as we talk about losses changing things for fighters, I think it also grows on good coaches. Good coaches will take a loss and examine it to the most minute detail. And I really believe Mark Ramsey's done that, because I believe he sees it as a mistake on his part too, for not equipping his fighter with the proper game plan. So, like I said, I think this time around, I think they're going to come with a solid game plan. Like I said, something crafty. They're going to try and push it into the later rounds, and they are going to go for the knockout. David Lemieux, after all. What's dangerous here is, as stated, Saunders is no slouch, and his record shows it. But David's proven that he's willing to stick his face in the fire if it means he'll get what's his. So,
in terms of this fight, Saunders boxing away from home, is there any possibility of any home cooking going on, or do you feel it's going to be a fair fight?
To be honest with you, a couple of years ago, I might have agreed with you. I would have said something along those lines. But recently, I'd say in the last year, there have been a couple decisions here for out-of-towners that were very arguable, if not, at least in one case that I can mention, a complete robbery. Now, I think the bottom line is he can't leave it in the hands of the judges.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone said it. Lemieux's a puncher, and Saunders is a boxer. And if it comes down to a decision, I don't think Lemieux will get any favors. As weird as it sounds, I think the judges have become as ruthless as the fans. And I think now, especially nowadays, if you don't knock out your opponent, if you look at Tevin Farmer's fight. He was on home soil, fighting a Japanese dude. And he's, they've put work into him. They were rising him up as a real star here. See, home cooking like that's a little scarier when they're trying to build someone up and they've already kind of set down some groundwork for the next fight. See, David Lemieux is not in that position. Win or lose, David Lemieux will still get a big name fight, will still make, a relatively same amount almost. He's not going to drop in stock. People are going to see Saunders as a real big fighter should he win, but it's not going to drop David Lemieux's stock. He's past that now. He's a recognized name. Now, if he got clowned, somehow, magically, Saunders turned into Golovkin, and he just Lomachenko's him from round one till the end, then we're having an entirely different conversation. It's like something's happened to David Lemieux. So, like I said, I think this is definitely a question of whether Lemieux's at the end of his road or, plumb in the middle of his renaissance, so to speak.
Based on Lemieux's mindset, Billy Joe Saunders has got a hell of a mouth on him, and he spoke the life out of William Monroe before they even got in the ring. Monroe was beaten before he got in the ring. Do you think Billy Joe Saunders talking to Lemieux, because Lemieux likes to talk a bit himself, will Saunders talk get inside the head of Lemieux, or is he mentally strong enough to deal with that?
I don't think he's gotten in his head at all. I think being quiet with David Lemieux is more. Look, Golovkin didn't say nothing. It's gonna be a good fight. Thank you very much for coming.
Did you look at the way?
They hate him.
Yeah, but
nobody had a lot of questions to ask. Now, mind you, for the press, for drumming up heat for the fight, this is amazing. But in reality, I think it only helps David motivate him. You look at what, what is it again? Stevens. I think if you trash talk him, if you bait him on, I think that only makes him better.
Yes.
So, like I said, this is why we're expecting fireworks. This is why everyone's anticipating a really, really, decisive fight. I really don't. I would have a really hard time to see this going to decision. Somebody's going to sleep here. And if not, it might even be a 3 knockdown.
Yeah, somebody's getting knocked out bad. That's why I feel it. Somebody's getting knocked out bad in this fight. In terms of Billy Joe Saunders, how do you see his skill set against David Lemieux, the puncher?
I think it's wonderful. It's a question of, I think 3 years from now, Billy Joe Saunders would probably box the ears off of it, David. And I love David. And my name's Manny Monteral. My whole thing is about rooting for the home team, right? But I don't think David's past his prime. I don't think he's got 3 years of wear and tear on. I think it's no one. Like I said, no one's mentioning it because Saunders has the belt. But like it or not, even with that belt, this fight's a bigger deal for him. He's breaking ground in North America. He's got a likable personality. Very talkative, very personable. Journalists are easy to get to him. He has everything a promoter would want. He's dedicated to his craft. I think no matter the outcome of this fight, Billy Joe Saunders will be a world-class boxer, and that's how it's going to go down in the history books. I think he's done very well for himself, and I don't think he's done win or lose.
Okay, let's look at it this way. If Lemieux goes out there and knocks Billy Joe Saunders out, do people consider that a world-class win by David Lemieux, or do they say, well, we didn't really know how good Billy Joe Saunders actually was?
That's how it might play out back home for you guys, but over here it's going to be a world-class win. Because despite all the talk and everything, all the journalists are aware of Saunders' boxing ability. The odds on this aren't favored in one direction too heavily. So, there's a reason for that.
And if Billy Joe Saunders beats Lemieux, will they say, well, he's been beaten by Golovkin, he's been beaten by Rubio, so what?
No, I don't think so. Because right now, the criticism of Saunders is like the best names he's fought are for example, are Eubanks. So right now he gets criticized for not having too many names under his belt. This is exactly the type of fight he would need if he wants to go and try and unify or get that big money fight against Canelo or even Golovkin. He knows this is the bridge he has to cross. I hate to use the word gatekeeper, but David Lemieux, for all intents and purposes, if you want to get to either Golovkin or Canelo, you got to go through David Lemieux. He's made that evident.
One of the things I've said a lot about Lemieux, I've said he's a fantastic puncher. I really rate his punching power. But even in the preview to the Golovkin fight, I said, look, David Lemieux is limited. He is a big puncher, but don't expect him to box. And what we saw was as soon as Golovkin seemed to put the jab on him, it seemed to keep him quiet. Now, we're moving on from that point. Do you think that Lemieux has made enough technical adjustments to now be able to not be shut down by just a right jab?
Well, to say that would be to try and compare Saunders to Golovkin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Because, styles make fights, and, planning is a big part of it, but styles do make fights. And Golovkin's proven that he's got the style to give everybody a hard night's work. So, I don't think Saunders can say that about his technical prowess. Yes, he's very technically sound. Like I said, if he goes in there and he chops David Lemieux up, I'll be thoroughly impressed. Then a matchup with Golovkin will kind of make sense. It's like, man, see how he chopped him up. But let's say he goes to the 12th round, or let's say it's a sloppy win, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to be talking about him being a good matchup for Golovkin. So, Saunders has got plenty of prowess, but like I said, I don't think even his amateur. I mean, Golovkin's amateur background puts most guys to shame.
Yeah, that's true. Talk to us about that other guy that's with the WBC, the light heavyweight champion, Adonis Stevenson, who's almost become now a villain in world boxing for all these step aside fights that Alvarez is having to deal with. Talk to us about this.
I mean, everywhere else he was pretty much a villain, and a lot of people enjoyed hating him here too, mainly because of the whole Kovalev issue as well.
Yeah.
So now that a pattern developed where there's been issues getting a fight signed up with Kovalev, and then when there's actual paperwork saying there's a mandatory, and then the mandatory's from here, and the guy's living in small flat, in one of the rough neighborhoods, and he's made it to number one. He's got that shot, and now it's 2 years they're stepping around him. Like it or not, whatever fans he had left, they've turned on him. He's a full-on villain now. And it's sad because it's not his fault. In the end, he can only do what Al Heyman tells him to do.
Do you really believe it's Al Heyman, or do you believe it's Adonis Stevenson? Which one is it?
Al Heyman. 100%, without a doubt. If somebody were to tell me he calls him to check on the weather, I would believe it.
There is a vacuum. When fighters join Al Heyman, they seem to just disappear. They become inactive, and I don't know. You tell me. Why is that?
Listen, I'm a fan of what Heyman has done, right? Because if we look before Heyman, I mean, aside from Oscar and Mayweather, and Mayweather's technically Heyman, but I mean, aside from Oscar, the guard hadn't changed. It was Arum and Don King, and it was all these guys that are pushing 80 years old now. So there needed to be some sort of change, and a lot of people compared it to UFC or something because it's a major conglomerate. You've got all kinds of investors and all kinds of hoopla about where the money's at. Bottom line is this: a regular promoter who has a limited budget will find themselves making deals with sponsors and TV stations and all kinds of other people in order to suit their needs, because they're offering to give you a date or a venue or some TV time on a specific timetable. And then that promoter with the limited budget will then play along those terms and line fights up for his fighter. Now, being it's in that order, what ends up happening is that a fighter will end up fighting 3-4 times a year, and he's going to make X amount. What happens with Al Heyman is Al Heyman determines what TV and what date and what venue. He's got it all lined up for the year. He's got places held up all across North America. And basically, if you want to fight next month, he can put you on a fight next month. But more importantly, what ends up happening is that a fighter that used to have to fight 4 times a year is now fighting twice a year and making, if not more money. So if I fight less but make more money, I still end up on TV. I still get all the publicity. Who cares what the people or the naysayers say? And that's what happens. The flip side of that is that the fighter becomes complacent. I don't believe Adonis Stevenson is hungry. I don't even believe he's hungry to unify the titles. I think he's just sitting by the phone. And when, he gets told that it's time, he's going to get up and go.
There'll be a lot of people cheering for Badu Jack, that's for sure.
Well, you see, here's the thing, right? Hopefully that fight happens over here. Because the only way Adonis Stevenson wins that fight is in Canada. If he goes to the States, they're going to railroad him. I don't think Adonis needs it. But I definitely think Badu Jack standing with the Al Heyman crew is definitely superior to the love Adonis Stevenson gets. And it's not to say that he's not appreciated by Al Heyman. I strongly believe that Al Heyman, he's one of his favorites. He's one of the first fighters to sign up with Al Heyman. He said yes to everything Al Heyman's ever asked of him. So Al Heyman is loyal to him. It's just a question of how much when TNT becomes involved.
So this thing about the WBC being investigated regarding the unacceptable step-asides, have you heard anything more about that?
No, but I think it's just a pressure tactic. Because in the end, I mean, I don't want to be mean. I respect a lot of what these people do. But I mean, the WBC hasn't really lately done a lot of things in order to make it sound like it's the most up-and-up company there is. Luis Ortiz magically comes back at number 2 in the WBC rankings, fights a guy short notice who lost his last fight and got knocked out in his last 3. And that got passed as a number 2 for WBC. What if Ortiz would have slipped on a banana peel and knocked himself out? We would have some weird no-name guy who got knocked out his last 3 fights, and lost his last 5, challenging for the WBC belt.
Hey, listen, I tried to tell this to boxing fans on BWTM Sports. They went, it's just a warm-up. It's just a warm-up. I said, that is no warm-up. That is not a warm-up. He'd get better sparring partners than this guy, he thought. That's the sort of guy you make your debut with.
You do a debut, a nice little 4-rounder. You open up the show with him. 20-year-old kid sometime in the ring. Luis Ortiz looks like he's 50.
Don't go there. I've been saying he must. Well, I spoke to Manny Monteral not too long ago. And Manny Monteral said, I'm 45, and that guy's older than me. He's at least 48. So, I mean, you could be right about that.
I met him 2 years ago.
Yep.
Face to face. Okay.
Yeah.
And I forget how old he is, but I think I'm a year or 2 older than him. Okay. Yeah. We met, and it was like I was talking to my dad. I'll say it. I think he's 50, 55 yet. I wouldn't be surprised if he watches reruns of Matlock or something. Bottom line is this, the WBC could say they're investigating all they want, but when they do stuff like they just did with Ortiz, I mean, what kind of credibility do they really hold by saying such a thing?
Look,
where were they a year ago?
Look,
6 months ago.
Look, there are people. If you listen, Ortiz has got no real big fan base. But if you go across social media and you do a video on the Luis Ortiz and tell boxing fans he doesn't have a fan base, where is his fan base? What's all the big fuss about Luis Ortiz? Who's he actually beaten? They'll tell you, oh, he beat Brian Jennings and he's got a fan base. What fan base? He hasn't got a fan base.
Okay, hold on. I will say this, right? They did pick on him, but I'm a fan. He can box.
Sure, he can box.
He can box.
I'm not disputing that.
He can box. He can box. No, you don't understand how important those words are nowadays.
Oh, dear.
The WBC champion of the world is Deontay Wilder. I need somebody that understands combinations. I'll take Luis Ortiz over Deontay Wilder any day.
I appreciate that. I'm still here.
One of my best videos.
Yep.
One of my best videos on YouTube view-wise is a little highlight montage I made for him.
Mm-hmm.
I like King Kong. He can box. He throws to the body. When have you ever seen Deontay Wilder throw to the body? Purposely.
No, I haven't. I've seen windmill, though.
So if I'm going to have a heavyweight champion of the world, I need him to understand footwork and clinching, setting up combos. Just the bare minimum. I'm not asking for much.
I'm not asking for much. But what about devastating KOs?
Listen to me. Deontay Wilder inhuman strength. I wish to God somebody would have put a pair of gloves on him when he was 12 years old. That's not what happened. And what he is right now is a danger to the future of boxing. You know how many people imitated Floyd Mayweather, Roy Jones Jr.? As great as they were for boxing, they also hurt boxing. You know how many guys
Got knocked out.
have gone into training thinking that they're Roy Jones Jr., trying to do Roy Jones Jr. stuff or Floyd Mayweather stuff?
I've seen it.
Now it's Lomachenko. Everyone's trying to be Lomachenko.
Uh-oh.
Can you imagine a whole bunch of kids trying to imitate Deontay Wilder?
When you put it that way, it might be fun.
Oh, Jesus.
Wait. What about a whole bunch of kids trying to imitate Conor McGregor in boxing?
I wasn't for that. Let him fight Paulie. I didn't understand why he was fighting Floyd Mayweather. There's so many guys that deserve that ticket.
I heard Pacquiao might be up
For
next.
God's sakes, you gave Berto a check. You couldn't give another. You know, there's plenty of names in the boxing world that deserve that respect. Forget the fact that they'll lose, okay?
Yeah.
Because pretty much anybody he would have picked, he would have beat.
Yeah.
But he could have picked somebody, Keith Thurman, Earl Spence, anybody. Beat the pants off of them, but give them the check. Conor McGregor doesn't deserve that check. He doesn't deserve the love the boxing fans have.
You know what? I know you say that.
You would have fought a couple fights. I'd be behind him. You would have won 2-3 fights.
Yeah, but
tune-ups.
that's the
Him
whole.
and Mick Conlan on the same card. I would have been all for it.
Yeah, but that's a whole ripoff. That was a whole ripoff. You didn't see McGregor box, so there's a mystery. But if we'd seen him box and we saw he couldn't even pick up an area title, we would have been interested in that fight. There was this intrigue. He had a good win in the UFC. Then he won a few titles in the UFC. He comes over to boxing. We don't really know what he's about. All this mystery about him. So when I get to see him fight night, that is what the mystery was about. That's why the McGregor thing was so. Oh, if he lands that left hand on Floyd, because if he took the left hand away, and Floyd did take the left hand away, what happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Listen, the one good thing that came from that I will say.
Yep.
Is that there's a few UFC guys I wouldn't mind making the transition. And those guys, like it or not, do not have Conor McGregor's buying power. So if they were to make the transition, they are going to make the transition normally. And there's a few guys that I honestly think if the UFC were to mess up or the contract were to end, would be fantastic boxers. There's a couple of heavyweights I wouldn't mind. There's Irishman Joe Duffy.
Okay.
Joseph Duffy. As an amateur, he was Golden Gloves. I think he's 6-0 as a pro boxer, and then he switched to MMA.
Okay.
He's the perfect kind of guy to go after.
Okay.
I think it's one of the good things that came from the McGregor thing, the possibility that there might be a couple guys coming across.
What are your thoughts on this thing of the guy from UFC coming into boxing and said he's going to be a boxing promoter?
Who's this?
The promoter of the UFC promoter, the bald-headed guy. I forgot his name again.
Dana White?
Dana White, yes.
Okay, listen, you can look this up, okay?
Yeah.
Dana White is never going to be in the boxing business.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Explain.
If you look into his background,
Yeah.
he started off as a boxing promoter.
Okay.
He was doing small shows in Boston.
Right.
Now, a certain mobster, who they've made movies of recently in Boston, had a chit-chat with him and explained to him that if he was going to be a promoter, that he was going to be his promoter. He didn't really have many other options. Dana White got on the first plane to Vegas. And once in Vegas, landed that job working with the UFC, and then the rest is history. But Dana White ran out of Boston. He's had a boxing license before. I don't think he'll be accepted. I don't think he'll have an easy time, no matter how much money he throws around.
Wow. What about if he sits in the background and lets two puppets do it?
I'm sorry?
What happens if he sits in the background and lets two puppets do it? Like he's like a puppeteer and sends somebody else out.
The people that would put be fully aware that he's behind it.
Uh-oh.
I'll give you a really good example. One of the things that gave me a little faith during the whole McGregor-Mayweather thing is that McGregor had started his own promotional company.
Right.
Which I know for without a doubt is 100% a conversation with Floyd Mayweather he had. I bet you, because before that moment, the fight wasn't happening. After he started his own promotional company, that's when the UFC went straight into negotiations about keeping him on contract and making this happen with him as a partner.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason that went down that way is I'm 100% convinced that Mayweather more or less gave him the same blueprint that De La Hoya gave him, that De La Hoya did on Bob Arum. That's basically how all these guys got their freedom. De La Hoya got his freedom from Bob Arum, built Golden Boy. Mayweather got his freedom from De La Hoya, built TMT.
Wow.
Now all of a sudden McGregor's got McGregor Promotions.
Mm-hmm. So, do you think, talking about promotions, Anthony Joshua, you think he'll stick around with Eddie Hearn, or do you think and sign a new contract, or do you think he'll go his own way?
I think it's real dangerous that the TMT group is so near and dear. You know, Floyd's real nice to him. That whole team over there is real nice to him. I think that's real dangerous. I don't know if Eddie wants this. Like, if they want him, if Al Heyman wants him, he'll make it happen. It's a question how smart Eddie Hearn is about keeping himself in the picture.
What do you think about
Again, I don't think the fighter has any choice.
Okay, what do you think about the Eddie Hearn gate crashing into the USA? How do you think he'll be taken over there?
I think he'll be accepted. I don't see any major issues with that. He's listen, for as many jokes as people make about him and whatnot, you know, and he does have his flaws. Nobody's perfect, but all in all, he is, you know, he's putting the work down, right?
Yes.
He is the one making this happen. So on some level, you got to respect that. And I think overall, the fans are aware of him as a boxing personality and are aware of his product, even, you know. And I think they'll be very accepting of it.
What are your thoughts on the return of the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury?
Interesting story. I'll say this. If you get a chance, fingers crossed, something is supposed to happen that I can't talk about with you at this very moment.
Okay.
But should you get a chance to go look me up on Instagram, Manny Monteral, tomorrow around this time, maybe a little later. Just tune in. We'll see if I pull it off. If I pull it off, you'll know what I'm talking about. Bottom line is this. I think it's great. I think if he's mentally there, if he thinks he's ready mentally, it's just a question of getting his body back into it. If his body can follow suit, then I've had no issues with it. I'm a big fan of the man. I think, as weird as it sounds, I'll be open about this. I was very happy to see him talk about mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not something that a lot of boxers will do. You know, he's proven that, you know, he's got pride in one up. You know, when it comes to certain things, there's no shaming him. You know, he's very upfront about a lot of things. You know, he pokes fun at himself all the time. You know, he makes it almost impossible for other people to make fun of him because he's already done that. So that being said, I think he's a very, very intelligent fighter. I don't think he gets the respect he deserves. Part of that's his fault because he's a bit of a goof sometimes. But overall, you know, people got to look at what he's done. He went from being a joke to really putting Klitschko to the test, having a hell of a fight. I really do think that fight laid the groundwork. It got people ready for Anthony Joshua, so to speak. I think it got the fans in a fury that, ooh, the heavyweights are here now. This is where it's at. Joshua 2-0, what? I think it added to it 100%. I think, like I said, I don't think he's respected. And hopefully he can get himself in shape, and we'll see, you know, hopefully the last couple fights from Tyson Fury
Rumors are that his comeback opponent could be Shannon Briggs or David Price.
Personally, I almost, look, I won't beat myself up too much about this because, after all, we do live in a world where McGregor Mayweather was accepted. So, in a kind of greedy way, in a selfish way, I would love to see Shannon Cannon versus Tyson Fury. I think the press leading up to it, I think the banter, I think the fight itself, it'll be Godzilla versus King Kong, just two giant masses of meat running at each other. And the bottom line is this, right? As much as Shannon Cannon's had a bit of a hard road to get himself, quite possibly the best self-promoter boxing has ever seen. I think somewhere down the line, he's either got to get a shot at something serious or he's got to go away. So if he gets to fight Tyson Fury, I'll be all for that. I think Tyson Fury will beat him. I think we can, Shannon Cannon could go and retire on all his other businesses that he's got going for himself, and ride off into the sunset, so to speak, on a big fight.
And finally, just before you disappear, is there anybody coming out of Canada? We've got to talk about the other light heavyweight, Arthur. I never pronounce his last name right. BWTM. That's it. What's going on with him?
I mean, like I said, Mark Ramsey's his trainer. Top 5 in North America, maybe the world. BWTM's not human. Every sparring partner he's ever had has, without a doubt, called him the heaviest puncher they've ever fought. He's just a once-in-a-lifetime type fighter. Hopefully his legal issues with his promoter get resolved. Part of it got, delayed in order for him to have that fight. But, hopefully his issues with his promoter get resolved. Because right now, if he doesn't get them resolved, as much as he lives here, he's not going to be a product here. And, he's got a few issues for marketability that there's not much he can do about. So maybe promoting him in the States is what's best for his career.
Okay. We look forward to seeing the development with that. Now, Manny, how do people catch you and see what you're up to across social media?
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. It's all under Manny Monteral or Manny MTL. I'm all over social media at all times. I watch basically everything that's watchable. I don't do anything else. I take pictures. I'm around boxing all the time, basically. You can definitely check me out once a week. I have an article on thefightcity.com. You guys can check that out. Basically, I just talk into the camera and give you guys what's going on in the Fight City, which is Montreal, Canada. So if anyone's ever interested in the goings-on of this city, or who's up and coming, or good fights to look out for here, I'm definitely the person to talk to.
Fantastic, Manny. Fantastic. Oh, by the way, just on a closing note, what did you think of the pound-for-pound number 10 ranked fighter in the world, Jeff Horn's first defense of his WBO title?
If your promoter tells you you're going to be fighting and people are going to have to watch it on a Wednesday at 6 in the morning, you should question if things are going accurately in your career, especially if you're a champion. I think he got the welcome back he deserves, especially since he didn't win that title. It is what it is, man.
It is what it is. It is what it is. You're right.
That's what it is. Pacquiao's lost and been put to sleep. Okay? It's not like we're gonna give him one because Pacquiao was the unbeatable monster. He had his chance. He didn't get it. And everyone knows it. And that's why there's no press behind him. There's no nothing. That's why he's fighting on a Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning.
He's basically, I 100% believe that Bob Arum is more than content to have this situation be the way it is, because Manny can't fight as often as he would like him to. He's busy anyway. And the way it works out for Bob Arum is now he gets to feed him to Bud Crawford.
Yeah, we know
another belt on his guy.
We know what's going to happen, don't you? Know what's going to happen here, don't you?
Absolutely, Bud Crawford's going to eat him alive.
Of course. Oh no, but some of the fans think he's pound for pound Jeff Horn. I tell you, there's some people that really believe Jeff Horn's are great. I'm telling you. You read some of these Facebook forums.
For Mayweather McGregor. Are you paying attention to politics right now? I have no faith in the people. Zero faith in the people. I think people are confused. At this day and age, it's got people twisted. They see a couple Instagram videos, all of a sudden somebody's a star.
Yeah. Insta famous, we call it.
The beauty about boxing, though, that you can only front for so long.
Mm-hmm. You get
truth will come out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Manny, once again, thank you so much for being a wonderful guest on BWTM Sports, and let's not leave it so long next time.
All right, well, hopefully we'll talk for Adonis Stevenson, Badu Jack, or Alvarez, or whoever Al Haven decides it's going to be.
Hello?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, cut out there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hopefully we get to talk on the next big one here in the Fight City.
I look forward to it. Manny, take care and all the best.
All right, bud. Talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye. So, yeah, we have Manny Monteral from Montreal in Canada from the Fight City. Stay with us at midnight. We will be talking live to Alicia Taylor from Alicia Taylor Consulting, and she works for the former undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Kelly Pavlik. So stay tuned. Midnight, which is in about, 50 minutes from now. Tonight's going to be cool. We're going to be talking branding in boxing. We're going to be talking advertisement in boxing. We're going to be talking events management in boxing. We're going to talk about public, public relations in boxing. God. So stay with us. We'll be back at midnight with Alicia Taylor. I'm really looking forward to this one. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave your comments as always. This has been BWTM Sports.